Today, millions of people worldwide smoke cigarettes. For generations, smoking tobacco is a habit that has been seen as cool and fashionable. Despite that, health implications are also a known factor. In the UK and other first world countries, smoking has decreased. However, this issue is still prevalent among developing countries. Some of us have different viewpoints about the advantages and disadvantages. But how much do we really know about smoking? Tobacco is a crop that is native to the North and South continents of America. It was cultivated and monopolized by the European settlers of the early 18th century. In 1880, James Albert Bonsack created the Bonsack machine, which was able to produce 200 cigarettes per minute and paved the way for mass production. Shortly after, cigarettes slowly became a commodity. In order to create a demand for the product, American tobacco producers included cigarettes in soldiers' rations during the First and Second World Wars. To further boost domestic sales, cigarette brands were ubiquitous in wartime propaganda.
LSMFT. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
Fortunately for them, the desire to smoke rose after the Second World War. This resulted in 47% of adult Americans becoming consumers by 1950. This trend was also widespread throughout Great Britain, with 8 in 10 adult men being consumers of tobacco. The connection between cancer and smoking was only discovered a century earlier by German physician Franz H. Müller. This study changed people's reception to smoking forever. Money may have been on the increase, but so was the amount of health issues. So much so that by the 50s, smoking was regarded as one of the world's leading causes of cancer. Since then, society gradually became conscious towards the harmful effects of tobacco consumption, and Western civilization began to act against the habit.
It will never get heart disease or cancer from smoking. Can this machine make the same claim?
Since the 50s, the UK, USA, and other countries started to ban advertisements for cigarettes. This included the exclusion of advertising on radio and television. Health labels were also added to cigarette packages in 1964 to warn the public and consumers that smoking causes harm. These precautionary measurements have worked because the smoking rates over the past 60 years have steadily declined in Western countries. However, this is not the case for other countries worldwide. Number 1. Taxes are an issue. So why are smoking rates not dropping? First of all, the governments in developing countries are not doing enough. Cigarette prices and taxes on tobacco are all lower in low and middle income countries. According to the World Health Organization, the total tax price varies between 46 and 55% in low and middle income countries and almost 65% in the high income countries. In order to reduce smoking rates in these countries, their governments could increase excise taxes on cigarettes. Number 2. Tobacco exposure in developing countries. People living in poorer countries are more exposed to smoking and the accessibility of tobacco products. In countries such as China, there are a high number of vendors and street stands. With 64% of stores selling single cigarettes, smoking this way is a cheaper option to those who cannot afford a regular pack. Number 3. Consumers' reluctance to quit. Some smokers fail to abide by the anti-smoking regulations. These regulations were set in place by the World Health Organization's Framework Convention on Tobacco Control. They globally oversee smoking offences. One of their well-known laws dates back to 2007 when the ban on smoking in public areas was enforced. As stated by The Economist, Greek and Portuguese locals disregard the smoking laws altogether. Globally, smoking has been viewed as a reoccurring issue, but how does the British public view this topic?
I must confess, when I was a kid, all my friends used to smoke. When I did try to smoke, but I couldn't smoke. I kept coughing, and it's turned out in hindsight to be a blessing, because now, many years later, I still don't smoke.
Well, I mean, I have done it, like, obviously when going out and you're drunk and you're just like, oh, fuck, like, who cares? But then, nah, just the next morning I'm just like, it just doesn't appeal to me just to do it regularly. But yeah, I just personally wouldn't do it.
It's like a curiosity thing at the time because it's something new, like you've not really that experienced before. And it's like quite like taboo really, like younger kids smoking, so it's kind of like interesting that way as well.
When I was young, I got some friends, they were smoker and they are smoker even now. So that's why I got addicted to it, so I continue to the present.
So I had my first cigarette when I was like maybe 14 or 15 years old, so I've been smoking, that's like 8 years.
I feel like the initial, like whilst you're smoking, it's obviously it's like you're calm, but I feel like in the long term it increases stress, to be honest.
You notice a change in their mood, like they'll always be craving for it and they'll get stressed if they don't have it, and like it has become sort of a nuisance, like them having to constantly like leave a place just to, you know, calm their nerves with their you know, little cigarette or whatever.
I got a job. I do have my own stress about life. Sometimes you just take a cigarette to relax.
I guess guys would get together in the playground. It would be just one of those activities that they did as a part of socializing.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a social thing, because when I'm by myself I don't really smoke, but if I'm out, like, I need to be smoking, or if I'm at work and stressed out, like, it's sort of become like a habit rather than like something I actually enjoy doing.
I guess like social aspects are pretty big, like being able to just go and hang around with your friends and smoking. Like you're all doing something together, I guess there's something about doing that.
It's just one of those activities young people do without realising or thinking about consequences.
There's a massive struggle in the NHS with having to like provide care for people who have got like smoking related like diseases and all that. But I feel like if they did have a smoking prohibition, then I find that it wouldn't work. It would just fail, because people are just too addicted, and people just like want tobacco so much in their life that they just go out of their way just to get it, and it'll just be the same thing like the prohibition against alcohol.
Again, I feel like people do it because they want to and they know the risks when they're getting into it. So I feel like taking it away won't do that much, but I do believe it's an issue, of course, because you've almost guaranteed complications if you smoke, especially if it's long term. So yeah.
So, what exactly is in the cigarette? According to Cancer Research UK, a cigarette contains formaldehyde. This is a gas that is a byproduct of the combustion process of cigarette smoking. Benzene, an industrial solvent refined from crude oil, used in glue, petroleum, and cleaning products. Cigarettes also contain small amounts of chromium, which is used to manufacture dye, paints, and alloys. Arsenic. This is a poison used as a pesticide during the farming stage of tobacco production. Small traces are present in cigarette smoke. There are many more harmful elements which go into cigarettes, so it's no wonder why people choose to quit. But what methods are there for quitting? Some quitters use nicotine patches, which stay on the skin for extended periods of time. These patches contain various amounts of nicotine levels, which are absorbed into the skin. Others may choose nicotine gum as an option. But more recently, in the past 10 years, vaping has become one of the most popular methods for quitting. But what exactly is vaping?
To me personally, I think vaping is like a cleaner way of smoking. We can't deny the truth, we are addicted to nicotine, and that's why we go for the cigarettes. So, minusing all the negatives from the cigarette, 97% healthier, and you can pretty much feel the effects in the first week of transitioning from smoking cigarettes to a vape. I came from smoking 20 cigarettes on the weekdays to about 40 to 60 on the weekends, to now totally quit smoking. It's improved my health. Like after 2 weeks, my lung detoxed, had the phlegmy cough stage again. And as soon as you feel these experiences over the course of transition, where your smell comes back, your taste is sharper, your lung capacity is better, you feel a little more energetic, that motivated me to completely stop smoking cigarettes.
Of all the areas that are concerned with smoking, it is undeniable of its huge impact within society. Questions arise concerning health, stress, and well-being, which are a few of many factors. Is this particular substance beneficial to us? Does this substance need a place in our society? In regards to smoking, are we prepared for what the future holds? Should smoking be outlawed?